And a big good evening, kia ora to everyone in NZ, big good day to everyone in Australia, and everyone tuned in on SRL TV. It is the biggest game of the Six Nations by far. It's the two Tier 1 nations, the Trans-Tasman rivals, Will Kay and the Australia Kangaroos taking on John McCartney and the New Zealand Kiwis. They are the two undefeated teams remaining in this tournament, and there is so much on the line. Particularly for Australia, it's a must-win game. Win tonight, you qualify for the final. And for the Kiwis, securing qualification after last night's result, Great Britain going down to Ireland 30-34. And they have secured their spot in Manchester back here on Sunday. And what a game it's going to be. The proportions of this scale makes for a great, entertaining clash as these two nations line up side by side for the anthems, united as one, ready to play for their country. Joining me in the commentary box here tonight is my good mate Eddie Oliver. And Eddie, what a game we've got here. Kangaroos and Kiwis. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, you're bloody right there, Sonny. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Live here in England on SRL TV. The stage is set for an thrilling contest. Both sides have had an amazing Six Nations series. Round 3, it comes down to this Pacifica. If New Zealand win here this evening, they're straight in up against NZ. But Australia, they've got all to play for. They've got next week to look forward to, but they've got to win this game first. You don't want to get next week in your head. If you're up by 12 points at any point in the game, it's an 80-minute contest. The team that plays the full 80 this evening, Sonny, they're going to walk away with it ready for next week for what I'm already talking about it.
And Will Kay just gets absolutely smashed in on the tackle. Recovered there by Jaden White. The Kiwis off to a good start. And we'll get to our sideline commentator, Tyrone Clay, in just a moment. But here we go, New Zealand with the ball leading the charge. They give it to Logan Strange. Mr. SRL runs it straight at Luke Malchus. What a battle that is going to be through the middle of the field for the forwards. The men in black, the men from Aotearoa, they've secured their place in the Six Nations final. But we know how much this game means to them, to not only do battle with Australia, but to try and get their first win in SRL history against them. And here we go, Chance Bunce for tackle, too shy of the line. They play the ball right side, flat ball, Aaron White puts it down. Try time, Kiwis and New Zealand with the first points of the game, courtesy of an Aaron White try. Eddie, what a start for New Zealand. They're off and they're flying.
It's a dream start to the Kiwis. New Zealand, they get the ball off a Will Kay knock on. He got absolutely folded in half, the magician, the lock, the captain for Australia. He just got left in no man's land and he coughed up the ball. And what all good teams do, superstar teams do, they take advantage of the opposition's mistakes. The opposition's lack in judgment. It's 6-all with 2.5 minutes gone. And they're just looking as clinical as ever. They went through the middle to begin with, and then they just stripped them short down the short side. That long pass out to the centre, there's no better start.
Yeah, that's it, Eddie. And it was all off the back of that huge tackle that forced that ball loose. It gave the Kiwis a fine look early on in this first half. 6-0 is the score, 3 minutes played. And we head over to the sideline. Guest sideline commentator Tyrone Clay. Tyrone, it's wet down there. The conditions aren't the best, but I'll tell you what, the atmosphere is pumping in these two teams. What are your thoughts on them? How do you think this one's going to play out?
Yeah, this is going to be such a thrilling contest. And New Zealand, they've come out the gates early, astonishingly well. And currently, they probably want the team to beat in this competition. Although, if there is any team that can beat them, it is this Australian side. However, the Aussies just haven't come out as we thought they would have, and this crowd been a bit silent. I think we got a bit of more of an Aussie crowd in the house tonight, Sonny.
Yeah, a lot of green and gold in the stands here, and it is firmly a pro-Aussie crowd here tonight. But the Kiwi fans in good numbers as well. Loud and proud as always is Luke Malchus, one of our Season 1 veterans. One of the inaugural Kangaroos, I believe, but what a big coup it is for the Kangaroos to have someone like him particularly against this Kiwi forward pack. When we talk about the likes of Logan Strange, when we talk about the likes of Damian Moana, they're in the lock position, a lot of speed to inject there. It's going to be a tough task for the Aussies. They've got their work cut out for them. Thorne plays the ball inside Kiwi 30. Lockie Martin could potentially be his last game, but he doesn't want to end it here tonight. He wants to send his career off on a high next week in Manchester. Luke Malchus gets in the way. He tries to clean the play up and save it. But that one just a let off at the end there for the Aussies, Eddie.
Yeah, that is nowhere near the result that the Australians would have wanted. They had an opportunity to put up an attacking bomb, put some pressure on this New Zealand side to try and level out the playing field, but the pass just didn't hit the mark, and they're back to square one on the back foot where it all started.
And David Tiawa on the left wing. And I'll tell you what, those clouds have really put in a shadow over this stadium here tonight. It's just got that battle sort of a feel to it. It's war between these two nations. All in good fun, of course, but it's competitive. It's SRL. It's Australia and New Zealand. Doesn't get any bigger and better than that. The Aussies playing for a berth in the Six Nations final. All they have to do is win. Their destiny is in their own hands. The only one stopping them and standing in their way is New Zealand as they get it to the 10 through Rohan Koval. Fifth and last now. NZ, give it short. Moana with the grubber. Who's there? It's Lockie Martin. Great clean-up play from Lockie Martin. And he does a great job to return it as well. Give the Kangaroos a bit of breathing space. And Eddie, where do you think this game's going to be won and lost for the Kangaroos?
They've got to go through the middle. The forward packs are so well evened up. It's not going to be the first 20 minutes here, Sonny. It's going to be towards the back end of each half. 20 onwards, 60 onwards. It's going to be those bench forwards that just light it up. And that's honestly when I look at these two team lists. Jack Snells and Jesse Bennett on the bench. That is probably the most lethal combination. Will Kay's left his best on the bench for a reason. These two amazing forwards, Martin and Malchus, they'll take the brood here for the first 20, but you watch out for the final 20 in this first half. They're going to light it up.
And Tatata Maxwell on the kick return, gets past one. Jack Jimmy, I think it was, but Chaz Bingo won't let him get past there. First tackle now, the Kiwis playing from inside their 30. They go to Kobe Johnston now. And there's so much star-studded talent across the park for these two nations. It's probably the most anticipated game, given what's on the line, given that they are the two Tier 1 nations of this tournament. And it is always a battle between Australia and New Zealand. And Jaden White through the middle, comes the out of position, and Jaden White just goes straight through the gap. And he'll slot it under the sticks to make it 10-0 kick to come. Eddie, what a moment of magic there from the Kiwis.
It's only been 11 minutes, but Will Kay overreading the play. He looked out towards his left-hand side, not seeing Jaden White just sneaking in on his right-hand shoulder, left a yawning hole. He ran straight through it. And you're not going to stop a man who's that determined from there. Jaden White, he's got all the pace in the world, and you give him room like that, he's going to motor on underneath the sticks here for New Zealand. Koval to convert 12 points of difference. Australia just haven't clicked into gear yet, but there's still plenty of time, and I'm sure they're all going to be saying Sonny Ty's early days.
Yeah, it's still early days, as the great Chris Lord would say. And of course, the Pacifica side and Pacifica fans all across the globe, they are tuned into this game like hawks, because this outcome, this result will determine who makes it through to the Six Nations final. And they're liking their chances right now, Pacifica, but Tyrone, protect you on the sideline. New Zealand off to a flying start.
Yeah, they are, and I think it's taken the Aussies by a bit of shock. They would have thought New Zealand would have come out with some steam, but they wouldn't have thought that there'd be this much steam. And the Aussies, they've just got to get back into their rhythm. They've just been a little bit off today, and all you have to do is be a little bit off, and any team can count on you. This is how close the SRL is, and especially between two Tier 1 nations.
Yeah, great point, Tyrone. And the Kiwis through David Barner. I'll tell you what, it's the John McCartney mentality, the attacking game that they play with. It's been well seen throughout the Warriors and even throughout this Six Nations tournament. Once they get going, once they find their rhythm, they're just absolutely tough to stop. But the Aussies now going to try and come back with a big kick return. McCartney stabs it towards the corner. Justin plays, wrapped up. Great defensive tackle from David Tiawa. And not much doing there on the kick return early on for the Aussies as they shift it right to Mike Parsons. and Borson solidifying himself as the new halfback of the Kangaroos. He was a hero in the Origin series, and his form, he's replicated it into internationals. The captain of the Newcastle Knights next season, Coven Walmsley through the left edge. Great one from Coven Walmsley. Brought down by Chance Bunce, fullback out of position for tackle. The Aussies, oh, they forced a mistake there. Raul Cabral there to scoop it up. And Eddie, they had a good thing going there, the Aussies, but they just pulled the trigger too early. And now they're on the back foot. Chance Bunce trying to expose the gap. And they're on the back foot once again inside their red zone.
Well, this is just how Joe McCartney and his Warriors, his Aotearoa State of Origin sides, and now his New Zealand side, this is what they like, having the momentum in their favour. They just love the rub of the green, and that's what they're getting at the moment. Australia, they're just giving the ball to them in prime field position. Short ball.
Oh, Kobe Johnston turned on his back. Great defence there from the Aussies, but they're going to have one more tackle to try and hold the line. And it is bleak right now for Australia. One more tackle. They drop in the pocket. McCartney sends it high. Who's going to be under it? They contest. Tap back. Bunty scores. And the Kiwis back on the board once again. 3 unanswered tries. And Chance Bunce doing what Bunce does best. In the right place at the right time. And Eddie, the Kiwis, they have just turned up with a purpose, and they are playing with that energy here in this game.
Well, I said it with 2.5 gone in the first half. It's a dream start from New Zealand. Everything that they could have hoped for and wished for coming out of the sheds, but also more specifically what they would have worked for, what they would have talked about, and the style of play and how they wanted to start the game is just absolutely gone into their favour. They've gotten everything that's gone their way. Wet conditions, Australia not playing to it early, and they're taking advantage. High kicks to the corners, short passes, aiming up the middle, and Australia just weren't ready for it. This is a start that not even the Will Kay could have predicted, and they're shell-shocked, Australia. They've got to turn it around, and I did mention it, bench forwards. Watch out New Zealand, because I'm sure that they're primed and they're going to be ready to ignite.
Yeah, they're like raging bulls in the pen there. Jesse Bennett and Jackson Allison, they're roaring and ready to get out on the field. Another 3 minutes and we should see them make their way on for the green and gold, but the Kiwis, they have just really turned up early on here. They're dictating the tempo of this game, and momentum well within their favour. The men in black now looking to try and go undefeated in the pool rounds. A win tonight would do that for them. Damien Moana on the right edge. They are just piercing holes and exposing gaps through this Aussie defence. And the Aussies really need to tighten up here. You can't afford to let them get across again, especially this early in the game. New Zealand, though, in the driver's seat at the moment. Don't want to let your foot off the gas as they give it towards Caval. Raul Caval running it straight at the green and gold defence. 5th and last, 60 gained on this set. 18 minutes played, your final Six Nations tournament game. It's a Shanker kick straight towards Blake Harris. And there you go, Eddie, a bit of a reprieve for the Aussies.
And Dingo now, well, we got 1 minute until these forwards get off, and they're absolutely gassed. Malchus, Martin, they want to get off the field. They've been out, honestly, I feel like that they've been out there for ages. They've been defending so much, and all you'd have to do is just look at the possession stat. It honestly would be 70-odd%. Oh, Malchus, get them off, sound the alarm, call the ambulance.
Oh, and Malchus and Caval doing battle. Reminds me of that Season 7 State of Origin series. They really went at each other's necks in that one. 5th and last, 20 played. Substitutes coming on for the Aussies as Blake Harris kicks it towards the corner to Tyler Maxwell there in waiting, but a good cover defence. Tackle from Jack Jimmy, the Melbourne Storm centre. Coming up clutch there, and they needed that. Now the Aussies, the green and gold, they need to pin the Kiwis deep within their own half, deep within the red zone. It'll go a long way to digging themselves out of the hole that they find themselves in. Anxiety and tension for both teams, both nations, and oh, hell of a play there. No one to catch the pass, but Damien Moana, a great job to clean it up. Season 8 Premiership winning captain with the Bulldogs. McCartney nearly kicks it into his own teammate, but he sends it downfield and it's too much. Out on the full. Too much sauce and it spills over. And that is a great chance for Australia now, Eddie. They find themselves with the ball inside the Kiwi half.
Well, you got fresh forwards out there on the field. McCartney just laid into that. It honestly nearly exited the Earth's atmosphere. But nonetheless, Jimmy now for ball.
And the light bill has been paid here at the stadium. So the lights are now turned on, and here we go. We can see a bit better, but Parsons just forces that pass.
That's Australia ball.
And no referee ruling that it was knocked on and played at. Oh no, if that's anything to go by, that could be telling signs of this game. It is not going the Aussies' favour at the moment. Reverse inside out play, and the referee's not going to call it. Referee Luke Short out there with Riley. Oh no, it's not even Riley Moy, I don't think. I should have checked that. Great co-commissioner skills. Kobe Johnston, the big left second roller, gets him inside to the 40, and the Kiwis are just on a rampage at the moment. It is almost incomprehensible what we are witnessing. New Zealand really bringing the pressure against Australia. Cut out ball to Kobe Johnston. He'll just wind it up. Tackled by Cody Ogg. 5th and last now. 23 played. The Kiwis shift it. McCartney. Grobber. Not played at. Play on. Thomas Wallace there with the offload. But they do a good job, Australia. Wrapping up Rohan Kaval. And Tyrone, we'll head to you on the sidelines now. What's the atmosphere like? I'm hearing a lot of Kiwis out there chahooing. I mean, it's been their game so far.
Yeah, but in amongst that, there's just been a bit of silence. The Aussies, they've been totally outplayed in this first 20 or so minutes, and so far from what it's been, Australia, they haven't looked like coming back into this game. New Zealand have just been running amok. They've been playing their own style of game, and if Australia don't lift their game up soon, oh, we could be in for a long night.
Yeah, plenty of Aussies in attendance. They don't want to see their boys go down here tonight. But as bleak signs early on, 5th and last, Blake Harris will try and get a good kick away. Great towards the grips of Tatata. Maxwell steps one. Kaz Bingo trying to come up on him, but a great follow-up tackle there. Justin Plays, I think it was, to make the tackle. Damien Weiner, inside ball to Logan Guys, coming off the bench. The Melbourne Storm forward. Kiwis already inside Aussie half. Kans bunts once again through the left edge. They're almost making it look effortless here. Australia needs to tighten up. Will Kay getting the instructions out to his team, his nation. John McCartney on the receiving end off the offload as they work their way inside the red zone. 4th tackle now, New Zealand from dummy half. Jaden White tries his luck, gets him to the 10. 5th and last now. Where will they go? The men from Aotearoa, they give it back to McCartney. McCartney will send it high. It's 6 again. And the Aussie crowd is just absolutely hammering the ref. They are not getting the calls. They're not getting the rub of the green. And Chance Barnes with another try for the Kiwis. Over he goes. A double early on in this first half. And Eddie, New Zealand, they're rising to the occasion. And they're taking no prisoners on their way to try and getting a result for this game.
Well, you can see that from a mile away. Chance Barnes targeting the unexperienced combination, half second row combination there of Coven Walmsley and Blake Harris. They've played no footy together since this since this Six Nations series here in England. And I'm sure Will Kale would have been working with them just to get that combination together to work on it, because it's really shown right there. That's not the first line break that's been made. Coven, I think, has already given away 2 or 3 tackles that should have been made to a line break here this evening so far. He looks a bit gassed, the big man, hands on the hips, but I'm sure he'll be wanting to make up for it with his teammates.
And we go down to the sideline. Tyrone, what is the mood like from the Kiwis bench and the Aussie bench? I'm assuming it's 2 very contrasting moods.
You would be right, and Australia, they just seem down. They don't seem like they're in this game. And while for New Zealand, they're up and about. They're just jumping up and down in excitement. And also Pacifica, they will be licking their lips at the moment, seeing this scoreline and how dominant the Kiwis are playing. Maybe, just maybe, Pacifica could be playing in a final.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Tyrone, Sonny Ty would definitely love it, but it's a bittersweet feeling. Being his fellow countryman in Australia, Damien Moana plugs one off, and they're just having fun out there now. New Zealand scoring points, racing against the clock. Damien Moana scores another try. That's 5 unanswered tries for New Zealand. It hasn't even been half an hour. 26-0 is the score. And Eddie, great try from Moana, but it's getting ugly for Australia.
Australia just... There's no real words to explain it, Sonny. But whatever happened last week, whatever game plan, whatever they took out of last week just got thrown out of the window this week. That performance that they put up against Pacifica was a very gritty, very determined, but a very well-earned performance. They've come into this game just expecting it to be handed to them on a silver platter. As Caval converts, 28 points, just behind the clock, but you got to feel for Australia here. Just some players are working their guts off at the moment, but it's been the one-on-one battles that they're losing at the moment, whether it's the fullback up in the middle. Just nothing that Australia are doing to try and combat this New Zealand attack is prevailing.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone would have expected this sort of a margin, this sort of a deficit early on. Obviously, still plenty of time left to be played. And the Aussie faithful here in attendance, watching right across, back home in Australia, they are just hoping, praying for a miracle. New Zealand has just brought the onslaught right from the jump. And it was all off the back of that big hit, that turnover that led to the first try being scored. It set the tempo of the game. Don't do it again. They get the offload to Cooper Gronk. And New Zealand, they're almost playing park footy with it. Not afraid to throw it around. Expensive. Nah, there is no let up. They're not even bending at this moment. There's just no break for New Zealand. But the Aussies, they need to dig deep. They need to really channel in this energy, this passion, exactly. And with everything to play for, their chance of making the final, they need to just rise up. Someone needs to be the one to step up, and Nathan O'Donnell just capping off an absolute horror night for the Aussies. He just had to let it bounce. He pulled the trigger too early. And Eddie, if you're Australia, this is just not looking good at all. It's going from bad to worse.
At this rate, you might as well turn off the television, because that right there sums off the night. It's only in the first half. You got 8 minutes to go in the first half and a whole another 40 minutes to be played. But Nathan O'Donnell, the game that you had last week, a few individuals here this evening for Australia, they're just not pulling their weight, whether it's missed tackles or stuff like that are just uncharacteristic for this Australian side. We all know what this series has been built on. We know what Will Kay's done to get them to where they are. And they're about to concede again.
Poor tackle. Aussies on the ropes. They give it to Kobe Johnston, trying to barge his way over. Has he got the ball down? Riley Murray's going to send it up. And this could be unprecedented scenes here from Manchester. He's turned on his back. I couldn't see through the camera angle. But that is great stuff there from the Aussies. But they need to dig deep for one more tackle on this play. Fifth and last now. New Zealand will play the ball. They go to McCartney. McCartney takes the run up and he gets folded in the hit. Huge stuff there from Allison, I believe it was. And a turnover, Eddie. The Aussies finally get away, and it's a forward. And they are just literally throwing this game away. It is a very tough watch if you're an Aussie supporter. If you're the Kiwi supporters, you're rubbing your hands at what is transpiring. Oh, it is a tough slog here for Australia. Logan Strange trying to get a try, turned on his back, good defense, second tackle. Kiwi straight through the gap. Great try, save a tackle from Chaz Dingo. He is playing out of his skin. He's not going to give up. Open space, Kobe Johnston puts it down. Flies over for the try. And there you go. New Zealand, you are on the board once again. And I'm not going to kick a man while he's down, but Australia, Eddie, they are just looking absolutely shell-shocked. I think we're all shell-shocked here. This atmosphere, this tension, watching this game transpire, no one could have seen it coming.
Sound the alarm, Sonny Ty, and the rest of the SRL Commission. I believe half of the Australia squad has gone MIA in the defensive line there. A yawning hole, you could see it from a mile away. The block shape, two players set up to the left, the long pass. You could see how deep Kobe Johnston was. And he wasn't marked, he got left wide open. I'm not sure what's happening for Australia, I'm really not. The forward pass to Allison. Every single opportunity Australia have had with the ball, they've just turned it straight over. I have no clue what is going through the mind of Will Kay at the moment. But honestly, this reminds me of a game last year. But wow.
34-0 is the score. The Kiwis are up, and so are their fans, so are their spirits. They've already qualified for the Six Nations final. You could have forgiven them for entering this game with somewhat of maybe a complacent attitude, but they have not done that at all. Maybe Australia were relying on that, knowing that they had secured their berth in the final. But Tyrone, I'll take to you now. Your thoughts on what we've seen in this first half?
It's just been one word: dominance. And New Zealand have shown they've just been absolutely dominant. Not often we get to see 34 nil before we've even got to half time. And I've actually been watching a few Australia fans trudge out of the stadium in disgust. And no wonder I would be as well if my team was down 34-0 before halftime.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I've actually got a green and gold scarf on. I mean, obviously as Pacific captain, we want the Kiwis to win, but we wanted it to be a fight. And if the Aussies were to come away with it, then I'd tip my hats off. But geez, the Kiwis, they are really bringing the fight here in this game. And the green and gold scarf is now off. The red and blue one for Pacifica is on for me as Jack Jimmy now trying to kick his team out of trouble. Chance Brunt's forced to return it and run back. A great kick from the Aussies. And they bring him down here, Eddie. 2 more minutes to go. Australia probably just looking to get into the sheds and figure out what is going on.
Well, that's what you're hoping for at the moment. You want to get into the sheds, you want to regroup because, you spoke about New Zealand playing, this is probably the best that we've ever seen them play. Would you want to leave your best game for last? Would you want to have a bit of an off game this week, then next week, shun the lights out? So if they do win here in New Zealand, Pacifica, I'd have your hopes up because you never know. Can they put this back to back?
Oh, and John McCartney shrugs one off, leading by example. Fifth and last, the Kiwis will kick the ball away. Australia with one more chance to try and come up with points on the board. Courtesy of a Nathan O'Donnell kick return, steps one. Bit of an obstruction with the sub coming off. Good ankle tap from Chance Bunce, but 10 seconds left. The Aussies, one more play. Cody, can he get past? Off right away. Full half-time siren goes. 34-0 is the score. Kiwis leading. We'll see you in the second. Good evening, kia ora, and welcome back for the second half of the final pool game in the Six Nations between Australia and New Zealand. And your eyes do not deceive you. It is the Kiwis with a 34-0 lead heading into the second half. And they have just come flying out of the gates right from the jump. And they are putting on a spectacle. They have caught the Aussies off guard. And Eddie we'll break down this first half, but we'll start with the Kiwis off to a flying start. You can tell how much this means to them, and they are just playing with a real purpose here.
Well, you talk about a purpose, and they're playing for the crest that's on their chest. The jersey that they're wearing today, it's not just a piece of fabric, it's not a sporting clothes that you put on just to, well, of course you put on to be clothed.
Aaron White, sorry to cut you off, Eddie, but inside the red zone already, New Zealand, they are showing no mercy, to put things politely. 83 metres gained on the set. The men in black, what will they do? They drop it back to McCartney. Inside to Caval. It's a shanker kick. Let off the hook there for Australia. And Eddie, geez, they needed to come away with that one. Actually, I'll get to you in a second, but Tyrone. Oh, Malchus just gets laid out. Who hit him? I think that was Moana even. I don't see that too often, but Tyrone at halftime, he spoke to both sheds. What is the mood like for both camps, and what is the game plan for Australia and New Zealand?
I think for Australia to be trying to claw back into the game, trying to make it look a little bit more respectful, as the scoreline definitely isn't respectful at the moment. And New Zealand just put the foot down, showed no mercy. You're basically already up in front by enough.
40-20 attempt from Mike Borson's Bunsey. He won't take it out, and that is the clinical experience of Chance Bunce. He was almost teasing them with that one, looking like he might have taken it, but he just holds his ground. and puts the foot down. Eddie, this Aussie side, they're up against it. Is there any hope, any glimmer of hope to come back on this one, or are we just going to write them off right now and call it a win for New Zealand?
Well, Australia are playing as a team of individuals at the moment. There's no cohesion out there one bit. And the one-on-one matchups have just been thrown out the window. You don't even need to talk about the opposition. As an early kick here from McCartney over the 40-metre line. What's happening?
And Dingo floating with the touchline. They're trying to force him over, but Dingo doing a good job to stay in bounds, play the ball, son. There we go, Maverick Oldfield through the right edge. He finds a bit of space. Offload there to Cody Yogg. Very risky, but I guess there's nothing that's not worth risking at this point. They need to just roll the dice. Lockie Martin, what a stint he's having. What a game he's having. You certainly can't fault the effort of the Kangaroos veteran. This could potentially be his last game in the SRL. He doesn't want to go out like this. But the Kiwis, it is all on their side at the moment. Eddie spoke about what it means to play for the Kiwis, for the New Zealanders in the community. This is something that they really respect, that they really just take with both hands and embrace the occasion. Will Kay now tries to kick him in, out of trouble, straight to Chance Barnes, wrapped up in a good cover tackle. And Eddie, Australia, they've cleaned it up a little bit. It's going to take a lot more than that to get him back. Raul Caval, don't tell me he'll get past Dingo. Brought down by Chaz Dingo. And New Zealand again just flying Eddie straight out the gates.
They've started the second half like they started the first. Australia, they've reduced a bit of the errors, but it honestly still looks like that first half has taken so much of a toll on them. They've got barely anything left in the tank. They made 50 tackles in that first half, NZ, Sonny, and Australia made over 120. So they've been under the weather. These conditions, there's not much room out there to try and catch your breath. So all they had was half time to recuperate.
And Maverick Oldfield through the right hand side. He's going to go coast to coast, and the Aussies finally get their first points of the game. By time, Maverick Oldfield. And what a run it was from the Melbourne Storm winger. He puts a little bit of a dent into this deficit, and they needed to spark something, the Aussies. And there you go, Maverick Oldfield scores the first try for the green and gold, Eddie.
Getting up Australia, Maverick Oldfield. The Eagles landed here in Manchester. That is an amazing try there from the flying Melbourne Storm winger, the all-reliable Mav. He always gets it done. He always finds a way to get himself onto the scoreboard. And they just needed an X factor. Okay, bringing him off the bench onto the wing. It's prevailed for them, and if there's any glimmer of hope, they needed the first points for the second half, and they've done that.
That's right, Eddie, and it just gives them a sliver of hope as we enter the final half an hour of this game. Tyrone, first try on the board for Australia, and there's a lot of work left to be done.
Yeah, and I have a feeling it may be a little bit too much, but you never know. An Australian comeback could be on the cards. 36-34 full time, Sonny.
Well, if you're an Aussie supporter, you're definitely hoping so. I'll tell you what, if the Muzbet line is still open, you'll probably want to jump on the odds if you're any chance of pulling off this miracle. They'll probably be paying more than 100 to 1, but third tackle now, Australia. A lot of work to do. Mark Lee, right from dummy half. And I'll tell you what, Mark Lee has been a standout for the Aussies. He really helped secure the game against Europe in the first round for Australia with that game-sealing try right at the end. And last week he pulled off a try-saving tackle against Kalsako when Pacifica were trying to mount the comeback late in that game. And Mark Lee, he'll be looking to have another great stint, but there's a lot working against him that's been out of his control. He's had to watch this onslaught from the bench in the first half, and maybe he's just roaring to go. Maybe he's just going to be the one to lead by example and fight their way back into this game. But Damien Moana, big don't argue to the chest. Third tackle now, New Zealand inside Aussie half. They go right, Caval back inside to Bunce, who's wrapped up there by Luke Malkus. And the hopes for the Aussies, they rely solely on this game if there any chance to make the final. A lot of work to be done, but 5th and last now. Big kick return needed for Australia. Good set from New Zealand as they go to McCartney, who will just send it down towards the corner of Maverick Oldfield. Watch out. Mavo wrapped up. Great tackle by Columbus and Jai. And they go right to Boston's makeshift winger. Eddie, Australia, they're just looking for answers at the moment, not finding it. Oh, and there you go, Chaz Dinger.
It's one thing to look for answers, but you can't go searching. You've got to create it yourself. It's not going to be given to you, and that's what you need to do. You need to take advantage of what's in front of you. Don't go searching for it. Don't expect it to be given to you. You've got to work for it, and that's what Australia are doing now. They're working for the points. They're getting their way downfield. Let's see what the halves can do here to complete.
Will Kay in the pocket. He'll take the kick, sends it high. It's a swirler. Who's going to be there? Bunts all the space in the world. He's going to be gone. You'd have to think. Will Kay's trying to hunt him down. But Chance Bunts will be gone. Coast to coast. The Kiwis are in jubilation. Take a bow. Hat trick to Chance Bunts. Third try of the night for the Kiwis. Fullback. And we are on the brink of absolute insanity here. The Kiwis with a kick to come from right in front, looking to put 40 on the green and gold. And Eddie, that passage of play, they were risking it there, moving Chaz Dingo upfield, and there was no one in the backfield to cover. And Bunsey found that little bit of space, and that's all he needed.
Yeah, there's a valiant chase there from the captain, Will Kay, but he's already been out there for 55 odd minutes. He's already had to get for a mountain of work. Honestly, I'm actually pretty surprised that Bunce didn't pull away even further. Will, he gave it all. He gave it his all in that chase. 40 points to 6. It's Sonny. This is just something that is completely unheard of.
Eddie, it's unprecedented. We are witnessing history unfold right before our very eyes. And for the Aussie supporters, it is not the history that you want to remember. For the Kiwis, though, I mean, I think we've been so caught up in how this has turned out for Australia. We've got to give credit where credit's due. New Zealand, they have planned for this. You can tell how much this game has meant to them. Guy McCartney, Damien Moana, Comes Bunce leading the way. Thomas Wallace just weaving in and out of traffic. Hits a goose step. He just has to beat Coven Walmsley, but he's chased there. Brought down by Justin Plays. Second tackle, the Kiwis already inside the 10. Third tackle. This is threatening to get absolutely out of hand. Aaron White driven back. Good defense there. Australia still with work to do. Inside the 10, the Kiwis shift their left arm. McCartney, he'll just take the contact. 5th and last, 88 gained on this set. New Zealand having a game to remember. A near perfect, if not perfect game. As Al Matangi sends it high. And who's there? It's Bingo, but he's driven back. And that play is just... It is just embodied what it has been like for Australia. We go to the sidelines, Tyrone. It is just getting quieter on the Aussie bench as the time ticks down.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. They're just not believing anymore with so little time. And New Zealand, well, they're looking incredible still. You thought they may have let up after leading by so much. They don't care. They will play until the final set.
Oh, Kobe Johnston, sorry to cut you off, but great try-saving tackle there needed to be made. Third tackle on the line. The Kiwis, they go to Wallace, dragged back there from Coven Walmsley. Fourth tackle, they go left side. Kobe Johnston winds up, turned on his back. Gutsy stuff there from the green and gold, but New Zealand foot on the necks, and they are not planning on letting up any pressure whatsoever. It is a bloodbath that we are witnessing here from Manchester. McCartney shanks the kick away. Good hustle defense from Australia. And Eddie, I mean, you don't want to write him off early. Lockie Martin, I mean, let's talk about the bright spots. Lockie Martin, he's definitely been one of them.
Well, he knows, I'm not going to say it, but, you know, potentially it could be his last game. There's 20 minutes to go. You know what, I'll just say, he knows it's probably over. But a man who has put together such an outstanding career, not just on the field, but he took over the reins and saved the SRL when all hope was lost, becoming commissioner for the seasons that he did. Doing what he did, rebuilding, but not just like upholding the standard that Logan Strange held it to. He he honestly went leaps and bounds with what he did for the community, with the people that he incorporated into the league. To get to this point, it might not be the way that you would have wanted to finish, but it is certainly the way to deserve. He does deserve to go on the Green Bay.
And Cooper Gronk on the right sideline. They are about to perform a quick sub-check for the Kiwis in just a moment. Oh, no, we're not. They're both back on. Offload. There to Al-Matangi, the makeshift hooker in the second half, and it's the role he's played throughout this tournament. Oh, there we go, Australia. They get a call, go their way. About time. A bit of a reprieve now, the Aussies. Gonna try and make something happen. Chaz Dingo will try and open up the play here. But geez, this type of environment when you're playing under these circumstances, down 40-6, you gotta wonder if Australia has any gas left in the tank, or was the damage already inflicted? And Kevin Walmsley's, he weaves in and out. And there you go, we talk about effort players. Kevin Walmsley, he's not gonna go down without a fight. Australia, they're still swinging. Mark Lee, can he score? Over he goes. And the green and gold back with another try. Great stuff from Mark Lee, running it straight at chance bunts. Too much momentum. Barno there to join the collective tackle, but Mark Lee, we spoke about the impact he's had for the Aussies, Eddie, and he's another bright spot that's shined for the Kangaroos.
Yeah, no, most definitely there. Coven Walmsley getting them on the front foot. A broker tackle, got into the backfield, avoided the fullback. The quick play ball to Jack Jimmy, and then he just offloads the ball in the middle of the field. He's so elusive, he's so unpredictable, his speed, he's fresh. The offload, Mark Lee, just scoop that up all day. Ducks low, gets over for a try. 2 tacklers on him, will never be enough.
And Mark Lee's second conversion of the night. To convert his own try from the left-hand side, slots it over 40-12. New Zealand with the lead, and Tyrone will get to you. You and your British Lions, heartbreaking loss yesterday, but given how the Kiwis have played tonight, a win for you guys would have been in vain, because the Kiwis have turned up and they have well earned their spot into the Six Nations final.
Absolutely. They've been the best team in the entire tournament, New Zealand, and probably the reason why they are the favourites to take out the whole competition. Just great work from the Kiwis. Maybe they can inflict more pain on the other side.
Oh yeah, you know how much the Kiwis love to get one over on the Aussies. They'll be looking for 50. They'll be looking for a half century. And Australia. Yeah, it's what comes with the territory. There's nothing more passionate than the Kiwis Kangaroos rivalry, and it really means so much to both sides. But you can tell how much it means to New Zealand. They've already booked their ticket to Manchester on Sunday. And Pacifica fans, if you're a Pacifica player, get ready, because you are going to face this juggernaut that you are witnessing here tonight. Make it official, book it in, get your tickets ready. It's going to be Pacifica and New Zealand in the Six Nations final. And what a game it's going to be. New Zealand will be looking to go undefeated in the whole tournament and win the first ever international 13s competition in the SRL. What that would mean to everyone in New Zealand, to the Kiwis and the community. But for Australia, it's all but over now. Jaden White on the right edge. Just has to get past Chaz Bingo. Gets an offload away to Aaron White. Wrapped up. Good tackle. You don't want to inflict any more pain, do you, New Zealand? We've seen a lot of it tonight. How much more can they witness? As we see David Tiawa saving the play. 5th and last now in the pocket. Caval's waiting. But they go from dummy half. Tole Al-Matangi backs himself. Turned on his back. Why not? Have a go, son. And Eddie, New Zealand, throughout this whole game, they have just not shown any let-up.
Yeah, no, we've spoken all night about just how good this New Zealand team's be. The forwards, the halves, the hookers. They've all done an amazing job, but I just want to talk about the outside backs. Tara Maxwell, Chance Buns. They've honestly put together an outstanding performance. You just go back to the first half. Every single opportunity that Tara Maxwell has with the ball, he's making a line break. So I just wanted to shine a light on him specifically. He's had an amazing good game here, and this is round 3. Last night we had Great Britain and Ireland, and now we've got this. International Rugby League, Sunny Ty, gets no better than this.
No, it doesn't. Maybe the scoreboard could have been a bit better for the Aussies. And the neutral viewer, but Tide and Maxwell trying to split the defence. And they are just having their way with the Aussies here tonight. A tough watch for everyone in Australia. And it is nothing but pure joy and euphoria for New Zealand. They know that they've not only won this game, but they are just one game away from winning the Six Nations. Caden White shrugs him off with an offload. Don't tell me Almatungi's gone. Brought down in the third. New Zealand, have you ever seen a performance like this? Oh my goodness. I'm almost lost for words. New Zealand, 4 tackle inside the 10. They go to Caval, flat-footed, wrapped up by Luke Malchus. 5th and last, 86 gain for New Zealand. Final 10 minutes of the Six Nations clash on SRL TV. Makani sends it high. Who's on the kick chase? Kataida Maxwell, you absolute legend. Kataida Maxwell, the Kiwis. There is no let up. There is no mercy being shown. It is a cricket score being put out on the Aussies. And it just continues, Eddie. The nightmare, it rolls on.
Sunny pinched me. I'm not sure if I'm dreaming right now. Is this reality? New Zealand are just flying above the sky. Australia, you might as well send them back home on the plane, because I don't think that they actually got off for this one, wherever they're based in England. They just haven't rocked up to the game. They've only scored 12 points off a bit of individual brilliance from Markley and Maverick Oldfield. And this is just a team performance, and I spoke about him to Tara Maxwell. He's gone unsung, he's gone unnoticed this game, but he got an amazing try. Flew above high, above the winger, and he just slams it down. There's no words are going to do this team justice, but their actions speak for themselves here this evening. This is something's being created here tonight, Sonny. Could be a dynasty, you don't know, but we're witnessing history.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Eddie. And you know, you just got to give a full raps to the Kiwis. If ever there was a time to play your best footy, they've certainly turned up and played it here tonight. If you're Pacifica, bit of worrying signs here. If they can do this to a team like Australia, you can tell that New Zealand are going to be ready for the main event battle this Sunday in Manchester. What an absolute slobber knocker it's going to be. Chris Lord, the former Kiwis captain, he'll be there for Pacifica, going up against his former representative side. And New Zealand looking to hit the 50 mark. I don't think we've ever seen it in international footy, let alone against Australia. Maverick Oldfield on the right-hand side. He's got a bit of space. Just has to get past Chance Bunce. One more to go for Chance Bunce. He was ready for it. He was just zoned in, and he was not letting anything through. Mark Lee shifts it left to James Thorne. The two hooker primaries linking up on the play. Second tackle, 73 played from Manchester. It is a sea of black and white in the stands. Few specks of green and gold still here. Proud but heartbroken and disappointed. The Aussies going to try and come away with a consolation try here. And just go the full 80. Just send it, boys. See what you can do. Jack Jimmy driven back behind the 10. 5th and last now, Australia. One last roll of the dice. Where will they go? What will they do? Blake Harris puts it on a platter. And there you go. Justin plays. Puts one on the board. And it is too late in the grand scheme of things, but the spirit will not die. Eddie, great try there from Justin Plays, one of your teammates, or former teammates.
Yeah, one of my former teammates. He's off to the Rabbitohs next season. He's such an amazing character, Justin Plays, and I wish him all the best for his next season, but he absolutely lit the stage up in a fullback jersey for the Bronx towards the end of the season, so he's absolutely deserved the wing/centre jersey here this evening, and also for the whole series. Hopefully he'll be able to get back into State of Origin, back on the wing where he belongs, because he's such an amazing winger. And he'll be looking for a future in that fullback jersey. But they've gone down fighting Australia. They've shown a lot of grit and determination here in the second half. They've come with 13 points. But New Zealand, they might have conceded 18, but they've still continued. Just the way and the structure that they played with in the first half, it's something that is going to be very daunting. And that Pacifica side, they're going to have to cook up something miraculous to try and overcome this, if they can replicate it next week.
Yeah, their eyes are firmly glued to the screen for this game. trying to identify weaknesses, trying to identify where the game can be won. But Tyrone, we get to you on the sidelines. It's a party down there. All the Kiwi fans, they're loving it, they're living it up. You can see the bench standing up now. And you can tell that the Kiwis, it means so much to them, and they've come away with an unprecedented victory against the Kangaroos here tonight.
Yeah, it's just so happy for the Kiwis, but it's the way that they've won. Just absolutely showing the Aussies why they are one of the best teams in the world, and showing why that even if you have just a little off game, that you will be punished. And the Kiwis, they've looked incredible. I don't think we've seen a performance in international footy like this ever, so fair play to New Zealand. And Pacifica, it's going to be a great contest next Sunday, so.
Yeah, and they're going to have to play their best footy, because if the Kiwis turn up like they have tonight, that is going to be one tough challenge to try and overcome, but it's going to set out the heavyweight battle in the Six Nations final. Jack Jimmy, never say die attitude, the Aussie way. There he goes, fifth and last inside the 10. Can Australia get one more on the board? They go left. Blake Harris just sends it high. Hail Mary kick. Tap back. Dingo's there. Dingo. Oh, and he gets there. And Dingo, I thought he might have lost it. I thought he might have been lodged by the foot. But there you go. Chaz Dingo, Aussie fullback, there and waiting. And he just reels it in, splits the defence. Maybe a bit of an obstruction play there from Usher, but refs showing a bit of leniency and mercy. Why not?
Dingo's been quiet all night, and we haven't said his name much. You remember him last week, Sonny. The yardage work that he did to get Australia out of his own end has just been non-existent tonight. And the game plan that they had to shut down the key players, you talk about Dingo, you talk about Dawson, Will Kay, those sort of blokes who can break a game open, James Thorne, all of these great names, Jackson Allison, Jesse Bennett, they've been unheard of. Luke Malkus put on a few big shots, but this New Zealand side is one for the ages. Pacifica, you're cheering now, you're in the finals, but just look at what you're up against, because take a long look, because I'm not sure you can look long enough and still figure out how to beat it.
Yeah, Pacifica are they're gonna have to play out of their skin if they're gonna try and get a result against the Kiwis, and if they're clicking like they have been all tournament, I mean, that is danger signs. There's no telling which way they could go, but New Zealand have been the most dominant. When we talk about results, undefeated in the Six Nations tournament, they're going to come away with the biggest points differential, I think. Malkus now, never say die attitude, but the clock winds down, 15 seconds from Manchester. The Kiwis will come away with their first victory in SRL history against the Kangaroos, and they are off to the Six Nations final this Sunday right here at Manchester. Full time, 46-20 is your score, and New Zealand have just blown the Aussies away and out of the park. Disappointment on the faces of the green and gold. They gave it everything they've got, but New Zealand just a step above. Too much class, too clinical here tonight. And there you go, the New Zealand Kiwis, the undefeated nation in the Six Nations tournament, 46-20. We'll break down these stats by Eddie. I'll let you run these numbers down and give your thoughts on the game.
Well, New Zealand 24 completions to 27, only 3 errors. They did have to do a bit more defending, but you look at the 16 missed tackles compared to 28, 40 line breaks to 25. Australia only had 39 possession of the ball, and they were still able to score 20 points in that second half. It did even up. It was about 78 to New Zealand at half time there. So they did well to claw themselves back into it, but there was so much damage done in that first half. The number of tries from both teams, Bunce putting on a clinic, to Terry Maxwell at the end to finish us off down the tail. It was a real team effort from the Kiwis tonight.
Yeah, and you look at their try scorers, Buncey with a Hattie, but all these different players getting on the board, nearly running out of space to put the try scorers down. But we'll scroll over to the stats now.
Yeah, as we go to have a look at Australia, Jackson, Allison there. I just want to look at the forwards. Your 2 lowest runners were out there for 20 minutes. Jackson Allison, Jesse Bennett didn't even touch the ball. He made 7 tackles. Allison made 12 tackles in 20 minutes. So you talk about how much pressure and how much fatigue they were put under. You're talking about players that only just played 20 minutes. They usually make 6, probably not even half that. And the lack of ball that they had, Maverick Oldfield ran the furthest. Chaz Dingo, he didn't even get over 100 running meters, and he's the best fullback in the competition. He's the highest rated player that is in the SRL at the moment. Coven Walmsley did what he does best, but it was a team of individuals tonight. People didn't mark up where they had to mark up. Cody Ogg ran 71 meters. He made 28 tackles, 0 missed. You've got to give that man an effort. That is huge.
Yeah, and we speak about the bench rotation of Allison and Bennett. They were just thrown into the deep end as soon as they came on. For the Aussies, it was like watching D-Day. I mean, it was like Normandy Beach, and that's how just much of a slaughter it was. It was very un-Australia-like to witness it. But you just can't take anything away from the Kiwis. As we take a look at their stats now.
You know, you definitely can't take anything away from the Kiwis here. They earned it. Australia, they started, it all started with a knock-on from Will Kay. And after that, the try there to Aaron White, who's just out there on the wing. Straight over he was. He only made, he was out there in the center, sorry, but he only made 44 running meters. Bunts, 284, 7 line breaks, 3 tries. The back started it, but then the forwards slowly got into the game. They roared upfield. Moana, the way that they scored their tries, Sonny, it wasn't like, crash dive play over from front of the sticks. Jaden White ran at least 40. Moana ran at least 30. Everybody was just winning those one-on-one battles, and it was a game of moments. They took the game out of Australia's hands.
Yeah, right from the jump, and they needed that cutthroat approach with that, but they just backed it up all 80 minutes. They just looked unstoppable. I've never seen a game like that.
Joe McCartney, 4 try assists, 173 kicking meters, 8 tackles, 152 running meters. Man, the match performance there for me.
Oh, there you go. Joe McCartney. We know how much this means to him. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's proud of his Kiwi culture. And, I mean, look at this. 4 players over 200 run meters. It was that sort of a game. New Zealand played their absolute best game they could have asked for, and the Kangaroos just played nearly their worst game they could have asked for in that first half. It was a great job to get back in the second, but we'll go to our sideline commentator, Tyrone, your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, it's just complete domination from the Kiwis. They led off towards the final 20 minutes, but it was all New Zealand, led by their captain. But McCartney, he had a brilliant game. Bunsey had a brilliant... Everyone stood up. They had a complete team performance and an utterly deserved victor in this game.
Well put there. And there we go. The final is confirmed next week. It'll be on Sunday from Manchester Stadium. It'll be the New Zealand Kiwis taking on the Pacifica Islanders in the Six Nations final. It is going to be a heavyweight battle, a main event clash. You do not want to miss this Sunday. And what a game it's going to be. The Kiwis finished the tournament undefeated, and on they march to the final, where Pacifica awaits them to decide who will win the Six Nations. And it's been an absolute joy and privilege as always. Thank you for joining me, Eddie Oliver and Tyrone Clay here from Manchester. What a game it's been. 46-20, the Kiwis over the Aussies. And thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe. And don't forget, Sunday, SRL TV is the place to be. And we look forward to seeing you all then for the Six Nations final. Signing off, Sonny Tyre from Manchester. And we'll see you then.
today.